Alien Earth, episode 5 was a decent episode. Like, it showed us what the hell happened on the ship holding all these aliens that for some fucking reason Weyland-Yutani wants to bring to Earth, but it's Weyland-Yutani. What do you expect? In my honest opinion, was the episode good? It was, but it wasn't nearly as good as I thought it would be. Neither was the clusterfuck, right, that I thought was happening on the ship, right? I thought it was going to be at least better or at least more crazier, but I think part of the reason for that was all the screen time needed for all the other aliens besides the xenomorph, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and talk shit about the other aliens because they are interesting, but it's just, you know, it just wasn't the big old like clusterfuck, like bloodbath, you know, crazy shit going on that I thought it was going to be, right? Which is, you know, it's fine, I guess. I thought it was interesting how we see everything through for the first part, and then we see how life following the company's rules can be, and how he basically just dissect everybody's whole, like, you know, everything he knows about them, because Jesus Christ, Moro knows a lot, and he just lets a lot of it slide, but he just, you know, just doesn't care as long as the aliens come back to money, which, you know, is at stake, and as we know now, is with Boy Cavalier. Not for long though, I'm sure. Seeing how the ship gets all fucked up and sabotaged was nice to see, but I didn't really enjoy how certain bastards, primarily Tong, whatever the fuck his name is, you know, weird ass dude who keeps, you know, having his hand out towards like one of the girls in the pods, was being all cryptic about, you know, what was going on the ship for some fucking reason, I guess. And of course, we had Boy Cavalier for a crew member anything in the world if he sabotages the ship and brings the specimens to him, which he does, and fucking dies from it. Like, he gets caught by Moro and gets killed, and, you know, he's like, oh, it's already too late. I'm sitting here like, yeah, it's too late for you, brother. Like, like, it's crazy because he even questions if he would survive. How would he get the money because he's fun? And Boy Cavalier just like, well, you're just gonna have to figure that shit out, brother. Like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. And then he just fucks off. Like, like, brother, like, I wouldn't even do that. Like, for me personally, you're telling me I gotta sabotage the ship, get it to crash, survive too, and then I'll get all my riches and everything I need to. I don't think that's a trade-off, Chief, because even if I die, what's gonna happen? Like, you're not gonna give me my fucking money. Is my family gonna get it? Like, what's going on here, right? Like, there's nothing really giving me much, you know, thought into thinking that the saboteur was smart, right? Or even like, you know, like, thought about it more than 5 fucking seconds, right? It's fucking stupid. I think the only human aspect of the episode that was interesting to me was Moro and the captain, or like the newly appointed Captain Zaverni. Moro, who knows basically everyone's personal affairs, even if it violates company policy, like the new appointed captain, fucking the last one, and you know, you know, and they were lonely, and, you know, Moro doesn't give a fuck, right? And Moro's like, hey, if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna, you know, forcibly take control over the ship, and, you know, and take over command, right? So do whatever the fuck I say. And that was pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. And, you know, Zaverni was trying her best to, you know, keep the specimens alive, and, you know, mourn the death of like her lover or whatever the fuck, right? I thought that was kind of interesting, but at the same time, who gives a fuck? Everybody else is like, you know, sort of character arcs or whatever the fuck, right? Weren't that interesting. They're all fodder. We all know they all fucking die, right? Now the I can't speak. The 3 aliens running loose are the eyeball, the bloodworms, and our resident xenomorph. But for me, I didn't like how they focused so much on the bloodworms. The xenomorph didn't get much screen time, you know, ripping and tearing, doing its thing. And the eyeball, which we finally see take over a human, didn't really do much, right? I guess he just went ahead and attacked the Xeno, but that's not, something what I would have wanted for the eye to do, because there's so much you can do with it in terms of horror and manipulation and just interesting stuff besides body horror. Is expect and want an even more bigger clusterfuck than the step-by-step fuck up we got. Like, every decision that everybody made here, or every event that happens here, ends up with people dead for almost no reason, right? Besides everybody rolling a fucking nat 1 and everything just getting progressively worse for no fucking reason, right? And everything just gets to a point where it's just too, try to make things better. Like, it's just so fucking crazy, right? Which to me, the step-by-step things are progressively getting worse because of reasons, I guess, isn't all that interesting to me, but it's still fine, honestly. Like, I don't really have much complaints besides me wanting things to be much worse than it really is, right? Seeing the aliens like rip and tear, right? It would have been interesting if the eyeball took control over Zaverny, then use the information in her brain to pit the crew against each other, while Moro is in the middle of dealing with it and trying to find the saboteur. The Xenomorph will be picking people out one by one, while another group is trying to contain the worms, but they won before they need to contain the room, killing a few more of the crew members in that room specifically, just like how the show just had, right? The crew who was in stasis would wake up not knowing what's going on and making Moro's life much more harder to find the saboteur, but makes the Xenomorph more eager to make more Xenomorphs by bringing people to the eggs in containment, breaking them out and putting them in a safe spot, which we see in pretty sure 2, right? I'm pretty sure it was 2 that we see them in that one spot, right? That way Moro has to force himself to kill the last remaining crew members so the Xenomorph can't make more monsters and making his life even more harder. He attempts to kill Zaverny, but the saboteur gets in the way, trying to kill the last two remaining crew members so he can get full authority over the ship and get in shock pod in the captain's in the captain's area and not fucking die, right? And get all his millions and whatever, right? The Xenomorph would interrupt all this, killing him when he would turn his weapons on it, and Moro and Zaverny would run away, but we all know Zaverny is the fucking eyeball, right? And Moro would enter the captain command, locking Zaverny out, who is actually the eye in her body. And then we see, of course, like in the beginning of the episode, or the beginning of the first episode, the Xeno attacking Zaverny, killing her, and trying to break into the captain's quarters, trying to get to Moro, right? I definitely will say I did love the transition of the events in the episode to that point, right? I thought that was pretty interesting in itself, right? Of course, the eyeball fucker would go ahead and escape, and Zaverny's body would get quote unquote killed or whatever, right? And the eyeball would leave on to do whatever the fuck it's doing and possess the fucking cat, right? That is something I would prefer would be the setup but everything that's happened in this episode was fine. It wasn't terrible and it was a clusterfuck, but I wanted, crazy enough, it to be even much more of a clusterfuck. Shit to get even much more worse, where, things are uncontainable, right? But what do you guys think? I think the episode itself was a solid 7. Still good, but not the best episode so far. Let's ramp up more with everything going on in current day Alien Earth. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Tell me your thoughts and opinions below. Stay safe and healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys next time. And yeah, have a great time. Have a great day. Peace.